Hi there. In this video we'll be covering is writing a book hard. Book writing is challenging, it's difficult, but there are things you can do to make the process easier. The strategies in this video are the same ones that I've used to write and ghostwrite 30 books, 4 of which that have become national bestsellers. There are lots of ways to keep going when times get tough and to get the words and ideas out of your head and onto the page. By the end of this video, you will learn a proven system for writing your book, the power of good habits, and a way to get some support if you need it. And stay tuned until the end of the video for an opportunity I really think you're going to enjoy. Let's dive in. Is writing a book hard? Yes, it is very hard. If you are watching this video, then you know it's hard. You probably have tried and given up, or you've tried and just don't know what to do next. You're stuck, you're at your wit's end. I get it, I've been there. It's so challenging, so scary, so overwhelming, so difficult. Writing a book challenges you in so many different ways. Challenges your insecurities, your doubts, your fears, all of the things you're feeling inside, all the things you don't even talk about to other people. It's all right there because you're asking yourself, am I good enough? Should I be writing a book? Do I have a book worth writing? Do I have something to say? All the answers to that are yes. And all the answers to whether you can write a book, yes, within reason. You know, if you don't know anything about, French Polynesia and you want to write a book about that, that's going to take a big learning curve. You can do it, but it's a big learning curve. So think about the books that you can write, the books that you feel empowered to write, the books that are within your wheelhouse. Because ultimately, you're going to be connected to this book for years to come. Through the writing, through the editing, publishing, promotion phases. You're going to be connected to this book for a long time. You want to spend the time to get it right. You want to write something that you can own yourself, that you uniquely can tell. That's what this is all about. And ultimately, it really comes down to following the right strategies, following the right path. It's about making good habits, It's so easy to start writing a book and feel super excited and motivated, and then things get a little busy and you put the book aside. And then a couple weeks go by and a couple months. And next thing you know, it's been 6 months or a year, you haven't touched the thing. It's interesting when I'm working on a book, I can see how often I've worked on it from looking at my computer, and I can see the last time I opened the file. And sometimes it'll be a couple weeks, I'm like, oh, that's not good. It's a sinking feeling, You want to spend time on this stuff every day. It's what I'm talking about when I mean good habits. You want to make the time to write every single day, or at least every single week, at the very least. And it doesn't need to be a lot of time. It can be, 10 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day. The way I approach it is this. If you want to write a 100,000 word book, write 275 words a day every single day for a full year. And you'll get there at the end of the year. You'll write a 100,000 word book. Obviously, not all of those words are probably going to be used. Obviously, 100,000 words is a big number. That's why this example matters as much as it does. When you think about 275 words a day, that's nothing. That's cake. You can write that in your sleep probably. I know I can. But at the same time, that's attainable. If you can write just 275 words every single day, you can write your book. All you need to do is focus on the matter at hand, block out the outside world for a couple minutes, and write. And write, and write, and write. And keep writing. It's about consistency. It's about good habits. It's about being focused on this and putting this first. One of the things that's going to make your book writing process easier is figuring out why you want to write the book in the first place. I know it's kind of a weird thing to think about, but maybe not. Purpose matters. If you figure out what your purpose is, if you figure out why you want to write the book, it then gets easier because now you're going to keep staying motivated to want to keep going. If you know that your goal with this book is to, get visibility for your company, get leads for your business, turn leads into clients, that's a good goal. I mean, I've worked on books like that have generated 6-figure revenue for people who own companies. If that's your goal, that's going to help you to keep going during the writing process because you want the outcome. You want the outcome. You want the reward at the end of this journey. You want the things that are going to unlock and the doors that are going to open because of your book. So figure out what your purpose is and be honest about it. Be open about it. Not just because I want to write a book. There's something deeper that drives you, that fuels you. Figure out what that is. And that's going to keep you motivated to keep going. That's going to help you figure out, okay, my schedule is busy. How can I find some time? How can I, find 15 minutes a day to do some writing? You're going to find the way. The next part of that is figuring out your message. What do you want to say with the book? What do you want to write about? What is the book ultimately about? You want to figure out what your message is because it's going to dictate the time and effort and energy that you're interested in putting into it. It's going to dictate what you need to do to accomplish that goal. If the topic is outside of your skill set and knowledge base, you're going to have to interview people and research and learn some things before you start writing, or you're going to have to get some experiences. If the story is about your personal experiences and the book is all from your mind, it's going to be a lot easier to write that book. So it's valuable to figure out what the message is and really, really figure it out, because that's going to save you time in the end. Figuring out your message, taking the time to build that foundation for your book, it's just going to make it that much stronger, and it's going to make every single effort you take more impactful and more efficient. You're not going to have wasted movement and wasted effort. Everything that you do is going to commit and connect to this book. We all have our own tactics and tendencies, especially when it comes to writing. How do you get writing done? Is it sitting down on Sunday nights and typing away? Is it taking a walk and dictating into an audio recorder and using those words to build out text? It could be anything. Figure out what your techniques and tactics are for getting words down. Think about projects that you've worked on previously that have succeeded or failed. Why did they succeed or fail? What were the factors that led to the success or failure of that project? All those things matter. I think back to when I first started getting in the books, and I didn't really know how to write a book, but I directed a couple documentaries, so I kind of understood projects. How do you get projects done, And if you understand projects, you could write a book. It's all the same thing, because the project is about, figuring out what you need to do to accomplish the goal, your skill set, your knowledge base, your gaps. All those things come into play. But being able to finish some projects makes it easier for you to apply that knowledge to finish other projects, like a book. So if you can systematize it, if you can figure out what you need to do and making good habits around it, you can have a lot of success. If the best way for you to get words down is to sit and type at the keyboard, great. If the best way for you to get words down is to speak it into an audio recorder, great. Figure out the obstacles, figure out the opportunities, and get rid of those obstacles. If you're bad with computers and you don't like different programs, use the most basic programs possible. Use Word and Google Docs. Use simple stuff. Don't worry about the latest, greatest technology for book writing. I don't even use that stuff. I use Microsoft Word. So, whatever works for you, whatever's simplest for you, make it easy. Because the more that you can do to make this simple and easy, the more you're going to buy into doing it. If it's super hard and the technology is too tough, you're going to want to give up. It's another reason for you to want to give up. And I don't want that to happen, and neither do you. The last thing to keep in mind is this. You can get help if you need it. So many authors get stuck on writing their book and they want to give up, and then they work with people like me. I've worked as a ghostwriter for 6 or 7 years now and have written or ghostwritten 30 plus books. And that experience has really shown me the power of collaborating with people who know the space, who know what they're doing, who've done this before. When I can light the way for somebody and show them what it takes to publish their book, it's empowering. And some of them actually go and write other books themselves after they work with me. Like, I showed them some tips and strategies. Now they're doing it themselves, which is awesome. I love that. It's so much easier when you think about how so many other people use ghostwriters or writing coaches to support them in their book writing journey. People that you've never even thought of have used those types of professionals. And there's no shame in using that type of professional yourself. There really isn't. It's going to help you ultimately write the best possible book. So, don't be afraid of getting help and working with somebody who can help make this process easier for you. You don't need to do this all by yourself. You can work with people and they can empower you to write a better book. If you want to learn more about Is Writing a Book Hard, there's a course that I think you should check out. It's my Good Book Accountability course, And the website is goodbookmastery.com. You can click the link below. The course meets weekly, and it's just a chance for authors to talk about their pain points and struggles and find success in the writing process. You know, writing can be so lonely, but it doesn't need to be. It really doesn't need to be as lonely, and it's just really awesome to be able to collaborate and work together and find our way forward together. So if that sounds like something you're interested in considering, definitely check it out. Remember, a good book can change your life. I'm Dan Good. Thanks for watching.